Welcome back, everyone. I just want to touch on this problem very quickly. I just want to focus on finding the volume, because finding the surface area is a bit more complicated. I just want to focus on finding the volume. This is still a prism, and the bases here are squares. So we're going to call this a square prism. And area of the base is going to be our side length squared, or base times height, but all the sides are square root of 10. So you're going to have square root of 10 squared, which hopefully you remember from when we did a bunch of these. Square root of 10 squared, those undo each other, and I just get 10. Our height here is going to be what connects the two bases together. So here would be our top base. This is actually a net. This is actually a net of what the prism would look like. So here is one of our bases. Here is our other base. And so our height is our distance that connects the bases together. So it is this distance right here. This distance right here, which is 6.5. That means our volume is going to be these two things multiplied together. Area of the base, which is 10 times our height, which is 6.5. Multiply that out and we get 65. Well, it's a volume, so we're going to be in meters cubed. Now, here's a question. What if the base is a circle? Well, if the base is a circle, then we actually give it a different name, which is a cylinder. So we still have our top base and our bottom base. We can still make a net out of it. The lateral surface is still a rectangle. But the bases are circles. So the formula is going to change ever so slightly. Here they are. Now these formulas are not all that different from what we just looked at. Well, the only difference is right here. You can think of this as your perimeter. Because we don't have perimeter of a circle, we call that distance around the circle circumference. And so that's the only real difference. This here is just plugging in the formulas of these things, because here's area of a circle and here is circumference of a circle. That's all they're doing there. And then the volume is the exact same. Area of the base times the height. So it's not really all that different. You just got to get used to thinking about circumference instead of perimeter, because that's what we talk about when we talk about circles. All right, I'm going to do the Messier one, and I will give you the more ones with the easier numbers to try on your own. Area of the base. Well, area of the base is area of a circle, which is pi r squared. And I'm going to leave all my answers in terms of pi until the very end here. What's the radius? Well, it's the distance from the center out to the edge of the circle. And so that's the 16.75. 16.75 squared. Again, I'm leaving this in terms of pi until the end of the problem. So 16.75 squared is 280.5625. And then we're going to put a pi on it. Lateral area is going to be circumference times our height. The circumference is going to be 2 pi times the radius, which is 2 pi times 16.75. That's the radius. Again, I'm going to leave this in terms of pi. 2 times 16.75 is 33.5 pi. Our height is our distance that connects the two bases together, which is this distance right here. Here it connects the base on the left with the base on the right. It's 49.2. That means the circumference times the height, multiply those together. Again, still leaving our answer in terms of pi until we hit our final answers for surface area and volume. Here's our surface area formula. Just like we did before, we have these values already, so we can just put them in. 280.5625 pi is our area of the base, plus circumference times the height, which is 1,648.2 pi. Work this out, and here's your final answer in terms of pi. And then if you multiply that number by pi, you get 6,940.80. And our units are going to be in centimeters squared because it's an area. So there's your answer in terms of pi. And then here's the answer with pi multiplied out. That's our final answer for surface area. Volume is area of the base times the height. So here's our area of the base. And here is our height. Our height is our distance that connects the bases together, and that is 49.2. Here's our exact answer in terms of pi. And here's our rounded answer with pi multiplied out. So we took this number and multiplied it by pi. Centimeters cubed because it's a volume. And volumes in our units cubed. Finally, what I want you to do before we end today is to try this problem on your own and see if you can get the right answer. Oh, wait, before you do that, one thing to caution about, the only tricky part here is that this 14 is not the radius. It's the diameter because it's going from one end of the circle to the other. The radius needs to start from the center and work out. So if we want the radius here, instead of being 14, I want to cut that in half, and it's only going to be 7 because we're only going halfway across the circle. Now that you've got that, these numbers should be a whole lot easier to work with. Go ahead and try that on your own. Answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Bam! Here's the full answer. Radius is 7, so we're doing area of the base being pi times 7 squared. Again, I left things in terms of pi until I hit the final answer for surface area and volume. Then I multiplied those numbers by pi. Surface area is 2 times the area of the base, which we found up here, plus circumference times the height, we found it up here. And then our height, remember, connects the two bases together. So our distance that connects the two circles together, that's 12.